Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. On this episode, I'm joined by Jesse Lewin, founder of Traffic Coffee.
So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up. What's going on, caffeinated crew? Today I'm joined with certified Welsh man, Jesse, the brains, the brawn behind Traffic.
Boom.
One of my favorite Montreal coffee roasters. And I work for a coffee roaster. So the list is short.
Conflict of interest here.
The list is short.
Yeah.
We're neighbors.
We're neighbors.
We're neighbors.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
The Dun, the Côte St. Paul, whatever you want to call it. You know, Paul
Côte
and
St.
Dun.
Amard.
Yeah.
How are you today?
No, it's I'm good. I think the past couple months into this year are obviously rocky. Things are rocky, so I'm always kind of stressed out, kind of on edge. Like, what else is going to happen? Wait, what else is going to happen? Historic highs for the C market. Historic highs for, well, I wouldn't say highs, but historic disparity, let's say, between the Canadian dollar and the US dollar. That's, playing a key factor. And I think usually, historically in coffee, and probably other industries, but again, I'm only going to speak for coffee. But I think it's like, as Canadians, there's always been one or the other thing at play. So either, the dollar was down, or the C market was down, or the C market was up, the dollar was up, but rarely both up at the same time.
It's crazy.
And because USD is so high compared to CAD, and because the C market is so high, it's tricky, I think, for everyone in Canada. And I think it's tricky for everyone, okay? Like farmers, everyone, okay? Even like people in the US, it's still tricky. But I think a lot of the times, because most of what happens in commerce and everything gets equated to things that happen in the USA.
Yeah.
People often forget, is even like farmers and stuff, they forget that Canada is not the USA. So when you remind them, they go, oh yeah, you guys don't have the same currency. Right. It's like, no, we have to pay in CAD. So when we're trading, even the farmer knows that they're selling their coffee in USD, but they're not there going like, wait, what is that Canadian? It's they're not gonna function like that.
So anyway, we just kind of move off to the yen.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just get on the yen.
Yeah. That's going to be next week.
Yeah,
next week.
Crypto.
That's the new. Yeah.
Dogecoin.
Crypto. Yes, we can laugh all we want about all this insane shit, and honestly, like all the meme coins and the rug pulling that people are doing is terrible. But I honestly think, like, in 2020 or 2021, I was at an expo, like SCA expo, and I was talking to some people trying to have the discussion about integrating a stable cryptocurrency, like, let's say, Bitcoin or Ethereum. As volatile as they are, I know they're not super stable, but I'm saying a more stable coin, okay, than like Pepe coin or some bullshit like that, Pikachu coin or whatever. But one of these more stable coins, and using it to do coffee transactions in Kenya, because Kenya was really into crypto, and they have kind of a really good solid foundation within Africa with their financial system. I just thought, like, the lottery for Kenyan coffees and how that happens, I don't like it. I find there's no sustainability with getting to know someone, getting to know people there, and then being able to buy the same coffees year after year with certainty, absolute certainty, and also just seeing if the model worked. Instead of a bunch of middlemen. Imagine if I could just pay Steven Nandela in Winami Estate directly through whatever
through a wallet
app, through a wallet directly. Imagine that. So they don't have to do anything. They just, as long as they can find a phone. And it's as simple as, okay, well, they don't have phones. Great. Let's give them. There's so many people that go, oh, this phone's 2 years old. I'm fucking trading it in, or I'm giving it away, or I'm whatever. Great. Let's give them phones. Let's make sure they have access to internet all the time, or as much as possible. And let's try to implement something like that. But again, that mountain is so big that a lot of people are like, oh, like I don't want to, that's too much. I don't want to do that. I just think it's the road forward. If we want to try and something new that puts the money for the product in the producer's hands faster and with less fingers in the pie, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a whole thing.
Well, and like the African market is, I feel like, a completely different animal than the Central American, South American markets.
Oh yeah.
Because even what's the country that's using Bitcoin? El Salvador? Not El Salvador. There's Bolivia.
Oh my God, I know what you mean. No. But I think it's
Ecuador.
It might be Ecuador. Yeah.
They're using Bitcoin as like an official currency now.
We're gonna have to look that up.
But there's already. I mean, we could try it in the South American market much easier. I feel like than having to ship coffee across an ocean. You know?
Yeah. I honestly. Oh yeah, there it is, Salvadoran. Boom. Okay. You were right. First shot.
That's a progressive government.
No. That's good. Yeah. I mean. Yeah, crypto is still crazy, and I totally understand people's hesitancy to like jump in there, and especially we're creating most of the problems. Like all these, 12-year-olds creating meme coins and rug pulling everybody or whatever. That's the issue. It's not necessarily the regulated or semi-regulated coins like everything else. Anyway, this is going into like crypto talk, but like
this is like Joe Rogan shit.
Yeah. But all to say that I don't just dismiss the whole notion that we might be able to use something that, of course, is being associated with a lot of bad things, but could potentially be a tool for us to solve an issue. It's like people equating AI to the robot, like robots basically taking over the world and stuff like that.
Like an iRobot thing?
Yeah. I just thought of this, but we were talking about music before, and that was I had this kind of side project in music at one point. It was called The Robot Paranoia, and it was literally about that. But at the time, obviously, AI was a thought
in someone's brain.
Yeah, a distant thought, But yeah, so lately it's been fun as per usual, because if it's not fun at work, we just won't come into work at Traffic. It's just, if it's not fun, why are we doing it? It's a common theme at the company. If it's not fun, why are we doing it?
Right.
But apart from that, it's a lot of tiptoeing now and trying to make sure that we do the right moves in terms of keeping the company healthy, keeping the staff healthy and happy, and enjoying what they're doing. And I think it's going to be a rough year for a lot of people that aren't paying attention to what they're buying and how they're buying and all this stuff, and really making a choice. I think at the beginning of the year, a lot of roasters are going to have to make the choice of, are we going to continue with quality and be forced to raise prices, or are we going to try and cut quality and cut costs and keep prices where they are, or only slightly raise them? Which, when we sent out our email telling people, or our emails, we sent out multiple to everybody, many emails. Hey, prices are going up. This is why, all this stuff. We've only meaningfully raised prices twice, I think, in the 7 years that we've been in business. And because coffee is a luxury, and people, especially in Montreal, I think historically don't have a ton of discretionary income. We're taxed really heavy and stuff like that. So I'm still there. I was there most of my life. I'm still there, and it's something that weighs on me. Going, well, I'm I'm removing buying power from people that are going out and just trying to enjoy life's little luxuries.
Right.
You know, we're not selling a yacht. We're selling little bags of specialty coffee
that you drink and it goes away.
Yeah. So it's tough to raise prices, but I think when we sent out those emails, it was insane how many people. I had made my decision, right, to keep quality and to even try to increase quality, but then we would have to increase prices. But there was so much pushback, and there was so many people actually that, I won't name names, but people that said we should really look to cut quality and cut costs before raising prices. Like you guys, as a suggestion to us, like, actually don't raise the prices, cut quality, cut the costs, all this stuff. And if you saw what was out there for less money, when the markets are like this, people don't realize, but like if you go below a certain tier, let's say below grade 1 even, the disparity between what a grade 1 or top tier coffee, let's say in layman's terms, looks like versus a grade 2 coffee looks like today, because of the way the market is and everything, it's a stark contrast.
What, it's like judging, like, let's say this is a 97, right? The one we're drinking,
right,
which we'll shout out in a second,
right?
It's a 97,
right,
from Macarena, great
right,
coffee,
right?
Jumping down to a 94, still grade
right,
1,
right.
There's a big difference,
right? Yeah,
you can taste it.
Yeah.
Like,
you mean 87?
That's an 87?
87.
Oh no, sorry. My
numbers
are. This is an 87, but then going to an 84.
Yeah. That's what I thought you meant. Yeah.
No, my bad.
Yes. No, but 100%. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Going back down, but I'm saying, like, there's people that are, let's say not a coffee this good. Okay, let's say Brazil. They make an espresso blend. They go, hey, I'm shopping for a Brazil. They're gonna try and they're gonna say, hey, specialty, and then the importer's gonna go, yeah, specialty. It's an 80, 84, and then it's actually gonna be like an 80. And then they're going to be like, how cheap is it though? And then the importer's like, I got a good deal for you. And then you get this amazing deal for an 80. Looks like shit, tastes like shit, but the costs are low.
It's $2 a pound.
People throw it in the grinder a week after it was roasted and pull shots with it, so they don't fucking know any better. And then they're like, wow, this is good. Name of the game. It's crazy. I actually think that's a worst. So specialty coffee, I read something today, this morning, and it's so true. And I think I've like flip-flopped back and forth with this, like, over my whole coffee career, which is like the notion of democratizing specialty coffee, as in specialty coffee for everyone. And then this morning I was just doom scrolling or whatever, and I saw this little bite from Ben Putt. If you don't know who Ben Putt is, he's former Canadian barista champion, like I don't know how many times over. Great guy. And Ben Putt said in this thing, I think it was a podcast actually, and he said, maybe, like, hot take, but maybe specialty coffee isn't for everyone, because look at other industries, right? And think about any other industry, okay? Like clothing, let's say clothing, okay? High-end clothing is 1,000,000% not for everybody, because not everyone can afford it. So maybe we should stop thinking that specialty is just going to automatically be for everyone, you know? It is a hot take. Like, it doesn't mean like, oh, great, free pass to encourage like slave-driven coffee.
Yeah.
That's not
That's not what's happening.
But it is an interesting thought, because I think for the longest time we've kind of thought that, oh, hey, everyone should be drinking this because we are. You know, it's
I believe, like, I hear his point, because I can understand that. Like, not everybody's going to go to Copenhagen and have like the Geisha Collective every single fucking day. You know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody can afford La Cabra.
You
know, once a week.
Yeah.
I mean, people who can afford La Cabra once a week.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like there's levels to it.
Yeah.
So like you should be able to go to a nice coffee shop and at least get the drip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like maybe you're not going to Even, shout out, and getting their $20 special natural geisha. You know what I mean? Like,
which is delicious also.
Fucking phenomenal.
It is delicious.
Shout out Even.
Yeah. It is delicious. Yeah. Andrew's doing something unique, you know, and I kind of knew from the get-go that the place was going to be its own thing. And it's definitely, again, perfect example of Ben's statement being real, is that coffee shop is not an everybody coffee shop. It's not an everybody coffee shop. You bring a lot of people there, they're going to be like, what is this? Why am I here? I am in a very intense Aesop shop, like, or something like that. So basically. It's like the coffee shop that Cotton built. K-O-T-N? Oh yeah.
Like what
Yeah. Actually, it's pretty accurate.
Andrew's side note, Andrew, super nice guy, gave us an amazing deal on the old Probat over there. We got the old Dispatch Probat P12.
Oh, you guys got it.
We got it.
Oh, I wondered who was gonna get that.
Yeah.
Isn't that a propane one?
Yeah,
or
it
it's
is.
gas
It's
lined
natural.
in?
It's natural gas lined in.
Okay.
So yeah, more on that. Everybody who listens, stay tuned. I might be launching a YouTube channel based off of that. So
yes,
check that out.
Do it.
If you want to see what a roaster build out looks like,
do it.
But more back to the C market being
do it. Yeah. Anyway, back to absolute chaos.
Should not absolutely buy a roaster at this time.
Yeah. Hey, are you thinking about getting into coffee? Don't. No. But no. Anyway, I think we have to just get through this. And, you know, I had done a little tiny snippet in a documentary that aired, I think, last year or something like that. I have a really bad timeline. Ever since 2020, my timelines are all messed up.
It's the COVID fog.
I think also between, like, as soon as I had kids, you wake up and you're like, whoa, shit, you're 5 already. Like, what happened? And I'm old and like all this stuff. But I think it was last year, there was this coffee documentary, this guy, Colin Rainbow, shout out to Colin Rainbow. He did a coffee doc featuring a bunch of different people in coffee and whatever. And in that, I remember saying that, you know, like the $5 or $6 latte that you were getting at the coffee shop, I was like, you better enjoy it because it's basically the best deal out there that you don't know you have a deal on.
Yeah.
Because soon enough, it's going to be way more expensive. And I had already started seeing it in Boston like a few years ago. The prices going, Boston, New York, whatever, all that.
Yeah.
And it should be going up. And, Quebec, I find, is one of the worst for all this is like we are not raising our prices.
It's locked in time.
Yeah, we're locked in time. We're not raising our prices. People go to Starbucks, they pay dollars more per drink to drink at Starbucks.
Yep.
Instead, and then people are scared to raise their coffee prices. Yeah. Even though they're nowhere near a Starbucks coffee. And it's totally different. Quality, service, cleanliness. You go into a Starbucks, like recently, there was a whole thing about Starbucks because people are freaking out over stock price. You know, the fucking Chipotle CEO now is in there going like, I'm going to save this company $96 million. I think that's what they paid him recently is $96 million. But
that's where the $96 million went.
Yeah, that's it. I saved you this, so pay me that. So apparently you went in there and I don't know if you heard recently, but Starbucks is removing the whole premise that it's your third place, right? So there's your home, your work, Starbucks. Historically, that was the way that Howard Schultz had placed Starbucks, right? And this guy says, fuck off. We're not doing that anymore. Why? Because we've got homeless people in there that are harassing people. There's toilet paper all over the fucking floor. There's, the place looks like shit. And the coffee is super expensive. So people are noticing, if you look at the data, and a lot of specialty people will still turn their nose up at this because they fucking hate like Blue Bottle and Pete's and shit like that. But if you look at the data, it shows that people would rather go now. They're choosing to go to Stumptown or Blue Bottle or Irving Farms or places like that instead of Starbucks. So the wave is coming into specialty, you know, from those places.
Well, it's even during COVID, Starbucks closed 3 reserve locations in town, as well as countless other just standalone locations.
Oh yeah.
And I felt like that was in lieu of
drive-through.
Was it in?
They wanted to keep the drive-throughs.
That's true, because they built a new drive-through on the 20 out there in Dorval.
Yeah.
You're
Drive-throughs.
That makes sense.
Yeah, everybody's stuck in their car. I'm not going to get out of my fucking car.
Because all the downtown locations closed.
Yeah. Well, human contact, right? Let's stop human contact. Let's not do this stuff. Yeah. So they just keep the drive-throughs. Boom, 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 boom. And
because I was thinking that the coffee industry in Montreal was so healthy and people were supporting local during COVID, and
I think people that made it through COVID and all that, amidst everything, I think had to either burn a lot of cash or they just got really lucky.
Online.
I mean, you know, we're sitting in big trouble right now. I mean, the fact that these people are still alive is unreal.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they stuck through it. And that's super tough. The location is tough. You know, you got to walk upstairs. People are like, oh, I have to do I have to do a fucking Stairmaster to get a cappuccino. I don't want to do that.
But even a cafe on Saint Denis in the Latin Quarter is like, you know,
it's rough.
It's a nighttime spot for the most part.
Years ago, my first cafe that I opened solo was on Saint Denis.
How far up?
Near Charrier, Bar Charrier.
Like right over here.
Yeah. It was in a semi-basement. It was absolute trash. If there was like, if Jesus was telling me not to do something, it was that. Like every star sign, every fucking biblical image that could have come out of the fucking clouds was coming out going, do not do this, Jesse. You shouldn't do it. And me, I was like, everyone says I'm not going to do it. And fuck those people, I'm going to do it. And I signed the worst business deal of my whole fucking life. I was a total tard. And it totally backfired on me. I had to split a space with, like, in the back of the space, right, was a laundromat.
Okay.
Which is like insane. I mean,
weird.
Why would you fucking do that? And I was also on my end going like, you know what? Everyone is selling the same shit. I'm gonna do something different. So my shop was like the first cafe to have like the barn. My dad had gone to Germany to film a movie about Jesse Owens. I don't know if you know. Yeah. So he filmed this movie, and part of it was in Germany. And I said, hey, could you stop by this place called the Barn? Yada yada yada. And my dad said, oh, as per usual, me and my dad have like the worst relationship. And me asking him for a favor, he was like, you son of a bitch, I'm gonna kill you. No, but so I said, yeah, could you just stop by? Ralph, you know, this great guy, and he said, hey, if you're in town, stop by. So I messaged Ralph and I said, hey, I'm not there, but my dad's there filming a movie. And he said, oh, send your dad and make sure he has room in his suitcase. So what happened was my dad took a taxi to the Barn, and Ralph hooked him up with a whole bunch of kilo bags. And he stuck him in his suitcase and he brought him back. And so we had all these, like, tons of free coffee, first of all, from Ralph.
From the Barn.
Yeah, from Ralph. Shout out Ralph. Best guy ever. And we started serving them shortly after that. So I think we were the first other than George shout out George, one of our biggest Canadian supporters. George owns a Revolver in Vancouver.
Okay.
But other than George, I think we're the only other Canadian cafe at the time serving Barn.
Crazy.
And yeah, it was great. So all to say is that other than Barn, we had a whole bunch of firsts, you know, like first place in Montreal to serve Matchstick, to serve this, to serve that. But ultimately it didn't work because I signed a terrible deal. And that's the one thing. If you're going to go retail and you're going to open cafes and you're going to do all this shit like that, have a lawyer that's a friend Like, even if you have to buy them drinks all night at fucking Marcus downtown, buy them drinks all night, get them to look over your lease, all that stuff. It's the worst thing to sign a bad lease and a bad business deal. Do not do it. And I would say the second thing that I didn't do was I didn't make sure I had enough financial backup to open a cafe. I didn't have the parachute that I needed. You know, I barely, like everyone said, you can't do that with that little money. I think to my name, I had 30K. So I found a way to open with 30K, which is fucking insane. That's today. Crazy. Like, it's insane. But I found a way. But again, ultimately it closed, right? So you go, oh, you failed. Sure, I did, but I also learned a ton in doing it. And I tried to open a coffee shop with $30,000, right? It's like insane. You know?
I feel like most people don't realize, but successful businesses, that person has opened and probably had to close.
It's never an overnight success.
5 to 10 businesses.
Yeah, it's never an overnight success. And when it is, you know, you're lucky. You know, you're lucky. It hardly ever is, but when it is, you're lucky. You know, and most of the time, you have somebody backing you up. You know, at the time that I was going to open my first shop, Luke and Anthony were opening their first shops around the same time. So Anthony opened Myriad with Scott Rao, and Luke opened Neve with this real estate guy. I forget his name. Anyway, this older guy. And I was so pissed because my backer ended up like my one lifeline, you know. Again, I didn't have parents that had money. I didn't have any money. I was just like trying to find somebody that believed in me, that wanted to see me succeed, and wanted obviously an ROI and whatever. And my backer divorced his wife all of a sudden and moved. His wife was like doing his best friend, blah blah blah. He shows up and he's like, hey, I'm out. That's like, I'm moving. Yeah. It was crazy. So I watched these two like just go boom, like right moment, right time. And I go, and even to this day, I go, wow, imagine if I would have been in that first wave. Like in that first wave of retail, it's like you're made. You got it made. Right. If you ran it properly, right? If you ran it properly. So I could have still opened and made terrible decisions just like I did with that other place. Yeah, but you never know. Yeah. You know, you never know. So.
Before we go further, we should talk about what this coffee is.
Yes.
Just so that people know.
Java.
So this is the first coffee that I kind of profiled. I've been roasting for like the better part of 6 months.
Cool.
But this is the first one that I profiled.
I'll tell you what, it tastes a lot better than it cupped when I cupped it. I actually hated it. Yeah, I hated it when I cupped it, and this is way better. So you did a better job than whoever was sample roasting this.
I don't know who sample roasted it. I find that this coffee
total amateurs.
Yeah, straight up.
So
this coffee had to on our 5 kilo toper machine. That's
perfect.
Horrible.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is Limoncillo. It's from Nicaragua. It's got like floral-y, minty notes. I'm getting a lot of chocolate though.
It's got nice acidity too for a coffee that's like a processy coffee and something from Nicaragua,
it's
which
cold
usually
anaerobic.
You know, Nicks usually have like this kind of weird walnutty drying profile, and this one surprisingly doesn't have it. It could also be the brew that you did, which is
just V60, baby. Just always V60.
Classic.
Always.
Classic.
But I use a drip assist.
Like a Hario V60.
Yeah, Hario V60, okay. But I use the decanter.
Okay.
And
fancy
with a drip assist on top.
Drip assist.
Yeah.
You see, I don't know any of this shit.
I'm a gearhead.
Yeah, see, I don't think I ever I think I'm more of like an espresso gearhead. Oof. Like that's I'm not people that are like, you know, we had this guy Artem. He lives in Ottawa now, and he doesn't work for us. which I'm fucking pissed about. I wish he was still here. He's the best. So fuck you, Artem. I'm pissed off that you chose Ottawa over us. But anyway,
why would you do that?
I love Artem, but I also hate Artem for leaving me hanging because
I just hate Ottawa.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, Ottawa's weird. But I'll give you this. There are little pockets of Ottawa that have some really cool shit.
Little victories.
Some nice rinks. There's a cool project that's coming over there that I'm helping out. It has to do with crazy vintage cars. Like crazy. Yeah.
Like a museum?
It's a coffee shop, but yeah, it's crazy. But this guy, I'll just tell you this. I won't go on a whole tangent, but this guy, okay, has one of only 13 Ferrari dynos.
Whoa.
Okay. There was a Ferrari dyno that was auctioned like maybe a month ago. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong with this number, but it was auctioned for $32 million.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. So, and he will put that car on display in the cafe. Like he will drive it into the cafe. Anyway, it's going to be insane. It's going to be something very unique.
It sounds like foil.
Yes.
Like a bit.
Yeah. Foil is very unique. So the guy that owns Foil is an artist named Fuckrender. Okay. Look him up. He's got like fucking 8 bajillion followers. His shit's been like everywhere, like even like the Vegas Dome, like and everything. But before all of this, right before he got into like making NFTs and all this shit, he used to ride bikes, and he was like a rep for like I think it was Burn or something like that. I remember last time I said, "Oh yeah, you were repping cat-like helmets." And he was like, "No, it's totally not that." But I was like, "Oh, okay." But he used to race like fixed gear bikes, and he got injured. And while he was in the hospital, or rehabilitation center, he started making art through like, I guess, Blender and stuff like that on Adobe.
Yeah.
And then boom, right place at the right time. Guy blows up. So boom.
He's involved with Mesorum though, right?
That I don't know.
Okay.
That I don't know.
Because there's a Fred that's involved with Mesorum.
Yeah, I think that's another Fred.
Okay, that's also a cyclist. Fred. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he doesn't ride. I don't think Fuckrender has
anymore.
Foil gallery guy has ridden a bike like again.
Okay.
No, he plays golf. From what I see, he plays a lot of golf and he fucking skateboards.
That's wild.
You know? Yeah.
I gotta get over to Foil. I haven't been. I've just seen it online.
It's gonna be crazy. Yeah. It's gonna be crazy. Even though there was Zab, and he told me, "Hey, my girl's gonna call you, blah blah blah," and she never called me. So shout out, girl that never called me. You wish. No. Yeah. So. Yeah, it would still be cool to do something.
Are they doing multi-roast?
No, right now they're with Zab.
Okay. Everybody's with Zab.
But again, crossing my fingers, maybe Lady Luck calls me up and says, "Hey, sorry, sorry, forgot about you. You were our distant second." No. But yeah, so I don't know. We went on that tangent there about places, cafes. Yeah. Anyway, it's tough. Anyway, retail's tough.
Retail's tough.
To be unique and survive.
Because we had a retail location that we were partnered with for a long time.
I know Tom's old shop. Shout out Tom in Japan. Tom in Japan.
Tom.
What's up, Tom? You listening from Japan?
Wait, which one?
So Robert Apostolados used to own Cafe Kitsune. And then Kitsune sold to Tom. No, sold to Tom. And then Tom turned it into Nocturne. And then Nocturne sold to
Andre. And Andre and Michael.
Blah, blah, blah. Yes, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, so when I started working there,
I'm old. I know things that happened in the past that were written on stone tablets.
So the Mirage that was there, the 3 group head Mirage?
Yeah.
We were using that machine until 4 months ago. The Kitsune machine.
Yeah.
Which it was...
I'm just gonna say that I hope it didn't end up in the trash. You know why?
It's over in Villeray now.
Okay. Because they don't make shit like that anymore.
They don't.
That's
They
a
don't.
beautiful keys.
They don't. You just gotta fix it up, and it's fantastic. If you need somebody to help with that, I got the best dude ever.
It's Tanner.
Otto.
Oh no, we use Otto.
Otto.
We just bought our new PB from Otto.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he took our old Linea
Sick.
Classic
Okay.
and put in a refurbed like 5-year-old Linea PB.
Sick.
Beautiful machine.
Sick. Oh, that's what happened to that one. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Shout out Otto.
Yeah.
We've been
yeah.
using Tanner helped us with the meeting Andrew and getting the roaster and all that. Tanner's friends with he's up north. Tanner's in North Montreal. Yeah. He's friends with Andrew and all them.
Tanner.
Yeah. He put new burrs on our EK.
Tanner what?
I don't know his last name. I just know him. Still a handsome dude. He's probably not going to hear this.
I don't know any Tanner.
I'll get the info.
I don't know
Otto,
any
though.
Tanner.
I know
all
Otto
right?
though. Otto's.
I don't
Otto,
believe he exists. He doesn't exist.
We use Otto as well. I think we've got a preventative maintenance plan with Otto, so we'll be seeing him for at least
it's
a
good.
full year.
No, it's good. You got that. It's good you got that.
Yeah, because the last one had no maintenance, and then he came in and started cursing at the machine.
Yeah. No, he's very particular.
By the third call, it was like, you guys need a new machine.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but yeah, like you said, market's down, got a new machine, got a new roaster going in.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, guess what? Things are getting more expensive. Solution: spend more money.
But you know what's sick? You know what's sick is like we kind of dialed back. We took a step back from wholesale to kind of get our ducks in order.
Yeah.
And now we're about to go back hard in the wholesale.
Boom.
Which means that nobody has pricing ideas, so we don't have to send out raised price emails. We just say like, this is how much our coffee costs.
Yeah.
Which
No, it's good.
I feel like we've been charging the same amount
For a long
7 years.
time. Yeah, for a long time.
You're familiar with the prices.
Yeah, no. You got to do it. And you know, that's the thing, right? Is that you get pushback on coffee shops that say, hey, don't raise the prices, all this stuff. But they have to raise prices. And that's the question, right? Is that's where the fear comes in, right? The fear comes in. It's not that, listen, everyone needs more. The farmer's going to need more. Everyone's going to need more, blah, blah, blah. But the fear comes in because the really big elephant in the room question is, what is the limit that you can charge where the client goes, I am willing to pay this much for a latte? What does the general public, Gen Pop, feel that a latte is worth, or a cappuccino is worth, or a bag of coffee is worth? That's the problem, is that everyone's scared to make that leap, you know? But again, people forget that it wasn't too long ago that Starbucks there was only one, okay? There was only one, and it was the most expensive coffee shop you could go to. Think about that. People forget that. There was a time when there was one Starbucks and it was the most expensive coffee shop like in the area.
Yeah.
So now that we are quote unquote better than Starbucks, apparently, all specialty, right? We have our little noble hats on and all this bullshit.
Yeah. With the third wave badge.
Okay, so you're so much better. Go ahead, you know?
Well, because like, how much is a fucking drip coffee at Starbucks? It's $3 at least. It's at least $3.
I don't know. Every time I have to go there, I always I go, I'm not even gonna get, like, I know I'm not gonna get coffee, like straight up coffee that I like. So I never get straight up coffee. I always go, if I have to go to a Starbucks, let's say I'm traveling and there's a Starbucks in an airport or something like that. Because I've had other like independent, like indie coffee shops in airports, Atlanta, fucking whatever. They're worse than a fucking Starbucks. They're so bad. Anyway,
it's because of HMS Host.
There was one, oh my God.
You know what I'm talking about. HMS Host.
Yeah.
It's like the food and beverage provider for the airport. And basically you sell, so let's say that you wanted to open Traffic Cafe at the airport of Montreal.
Yeah.
You would just sell your brand and your product and your likeness and your personality to this cafe. but the employees work for HMS Host or whatever the.
I think the only exception, or no, you're right. No, you're right. I was going to say the only exception is Black and White, but actually it's not an exception, because if I remember correctly, we were with Kyle and Matt from Black and White in Honduras last year, and Black and White was opening a cafe in Raleigh,
Raleigh Airport.
The airport in Raleigh. And I think that's what it is. It's like they had to go in and train staff that had
you can
were
train
not
them,
coffee people or whatever, to make coffee like Black and White would make coffee.
Yep.
Which is probably, I mean, in some ways, there's some people that walk into retail and they're like, hey, I have like 7 years experience as a barista or whatever. I'm the best, whatever. And they have this experience. And then they get in there and they're full of like bad habits. You know, it's like somebody is self-taught with like drums or guitar or whatever, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to take on a mentor, and then the mentor is watching them and they've developed just all these, they're great, they could be a great musician, but they've developed all these bad habits. Like Pat Metheny always mentions, like, do not play guitar like me. I'm doing all these weird, dumb things. Don't do this. Like, whatever you do, do not play guitar like me.
Right.
Even though he's like a master, you know. But yeah, so I think retail is tough, training's tough, and I don't know. Montreal's got to step it up. I find like the when I go around to different cities and stuff, the quality that I see is like unreal, and I want to come back here and say, hey, the quality is insane in the city. But I honestly don't feel that. Like, I just had a coffee this morning. I'm not going to name drop the place, but it was like,
I know where it is, and it's on the shit list for me.
So papery, okay? And I'll tell you, I went to a place in Toronto that we'll say has like probably the same wallet size for a company as this place that I went this morning, and they had the same thing. They had like an Ethiopian Esso on espresso, and I had that. And it was in Toronto. This other place was in Toronto. And the coffee was amazing. It was amazing. And I was so pissed this morning. I was like, man, we can't even beat a chain thing in Toronto. We can't even come to par with it. Are you kidding me? Like, we have no lack of roasters. We have no lack of coffee shops. We have no we're just lacking in modus operandi, I think, and personnel. You know,
I think it's a personnel issue, but I also think what I see, because my first shop was a counterculture.
Dude.
And this was like 2013.
Man, vintage counterculture was so good.
It was good. Hologram,
so
Apollo.
Fucking good.
I was there before Big Trouble. Not Cafe Big Trouble, but the blend Big Trouble.
Yeah.
I was before that.
Dude.
They hadn't even launched it yet.
Golden years.
So
Golden years.
Shout out Jarrett and shout out Derek.
Yes.
So they would come.
Now we're talking about some real shit.
Every 3 months, every 3 to 6 months, and they would look at the machine, look at our gear, talk about new coffees. Like, they would bring us samples.
Do the cha-cha-cha.
They were doing the wholesale bit, right?
Yeah.
Training. When they opened the cafe, they took all the staff and they did like 3 days of training.
Yeah.
But you could also go to their training facility in Charleston or in Raleigh, and they would train you on equipment, train you on pour over, like anything you wanted to know.
Yeah.
Training, because you were a wholesale client. I have not seen that.
Were they also based out of
Raleigh, Durham?
Really?
They're the OGs.
Man, I always thought they were just based out of New York.
No.
Like somewhere, whether it was upstate or whatever. I just thought they were always based in New York somewhere.
No, they're southeast.
Wow.
And I lived in Charleston for 10 months too. And there was like 6 shops that were all counterculture. They had a counterculture training facility in Charleston.
Crazy. Yeah, no, it's one of those things. I mean, like, here, I almost feel like when you offer training services, so many people are almost like offended by it. Like, excuse me, like, I know how to make coffee or whatever. Or like, it's not to offend anybody. It's like, hey, we're here to help you represent your brand better and our brand better because we're a team. We're all a team. Like we're like but honestly, like that's one of the things about like kind of B2B, I guess, if you want to make it dry, B2B is like people talk about like specialty, like it's not transactional. But then between coffee shops and roasters, I find like as much as that kind of BS is spewed online about like, yeah, you know, specialty coffee is about relationships and all that stuff. There's a lot of times where it still feels like it's transactions and people don't want to work as a team. Like people don't want to take, and it's not that like one, like, I don't know what it is. Like I said, I feel like it's like when you say, hey, is there somehow that we can help you? Or like, can we help train staff? Or, hey, do you know, like, what could we do, right? Either businesses are so much in the day-to-day that they don't know what they need. They don't know how their roaster partners can help them. Or they're, like I said, like whether it's a kind of sense of like, I'm taking offense to this because you're implying that I don't know what I'm doing, or some other thing, you know, where they're like, no, I'm good.
Right.
I'm so good at making coffee. I'm good. Don't worry about it.
Well, how much of this do you think is like what you can, so let's say like we're in big trouble. They only do traffic now.
Yeah. Big trub.
Don't they they're only traffic?
Traffic, and I think
but they'll bring in like
sometimes.
other roasters
Anchored.
sometimes. Yeah. But it's not technically a multi-roast. It's like a traffic shop. Yeah, they got some anchored on the wall right there.
Yeah. Boom. Cowboy Tears. Shout out Cowboy Tears. I love that name. I love it.
So let's say like a new shop's opening, you make a relationship with them, and they're like, we only want to start out with traffic.
Yeah.
They're going to be our only roaster.
Yeah.
It's not like a case of like, let's say Andy opens up a shop where it's going to be a multi-roast or something. Not that Andy's going to open a shop. So we won't. So let's say like there's
another one.
Another like tunnel before tunnel was tunnel. The new tunnel.
Another one.
Anyway.
DJ Khaled.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So is it a contract? Is it like a stipulation where it's like, if you're going to be just our shop, it doesn't matter if you've got 20 years in the industry. Like, we're going to come in, we're going to work together, make sure that the equipment is the equipment that we suggest.
Yeah, I mean, we try to have those discussions with people, but like I said, you know, it's not, everyone that is deciding to embark on the journey of opening a retail space and spending that kind of money that it takes, especially today, on a retail space, I definitely approach it a little bit maybe more delicate than I would want to. And I know that I'm oftentimes an abrasive personality, and that's also why I kind of approach it the way that I do. I don't tiptoe around it, but I'm definitely more gentle and more suggestive about things. Like, hey, like we think this could be good, or we would love to, you know, fill in the blank, whatever. But we also understand that, like, you know, people have their own visions about doing things, and it might not be like, we're not there to change your vision or change, you know, how you're going to do your entire thing, your business. But we have so much past experience within the company, opening shops, closing shops, everything in between, drywall, like whatever. It's everything. And people, I think, should never feel like they don't have people to talk to and communicate with about this stuff when they're embarking on it for the first time. There's people out there that want you to succeed.
Yeah.
And even if you're not going with me, let's say, like with traffic, if there are people that are opening shops out there that are like, I don't know about this, they should feel like they can reach out to other people in the industry and ask those questions. Like what I did when I started roasting, I reached out to Joel from Ritual, Lee Canoodula from Quietly, who was at Cut Coffee at the time still, and or who was doing Cut Coffee at the time, and lots of other people, like all over the place. here in the U.S., in Europe. Tim Wendelbo, I wrote an email to Tim and said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Even when I had a cafe, I reached out to him when things started really going bad. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And like, I was honest about where I was at mentally and fiscally and all that stuff. And I was just never shy about asking for help. And you shouldn't be shy about asking for help,
I mean, the worst thing that you get is no or like a fuck off. Which I think you'll rarely get. Or ghost. You get ghosted.
Especially in Canada.
Yeah,
people in Canada are more like ghosts. Yeah,
they just won't
flake
respond.
On you. Yeah.
Or they'll be like, like I can definitely help you out, and then never get back to you.
Oh, hey, bud. Hey, lost this email 3 years ago.
Oh, hey, no problem, bud.
Yeah, no problem, bud. Just hacking darts outside for the past 6 months. Didn't get around to it.
It was maple season, eh? I had to go out to the cottage. So I find people actually in Scandinavia, as cold as people think they can be, very much willing to share knowledge.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Their coffee culture's on another level.
Yeah.
Tim Wendelbo, that's not a cheap coffee shop.
No.
It was packed.
No. Yeah.
Packed.
Yeah.
And it's like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the tourism factor plays big on how popular the shop is. Like, I'm not going to take anything away from it, though. Like, the locals, for sure. Again, that it is true. It's just tough because Norway also has a vastly different economy than we do.
True.
And I feel like Norwegians have, in some ways, a lot more buying power. So it is very expensive, especially like the Norwegian kroner in particular versus CAD is pretty strong. And it makes, like, obviously a visit there more expensive for us.
Yeah.
But how they run their economy is really interesting, and it gives a lot of people more buying power to have a kind of life where you're not gonna see a lot of like Lambos and like Rolls and Bentleys and stuff like that, but everyone is gonna be pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is gonna live like a pretty solid life,
It's that Norwegian oil.
Yeah, I feel like it's seal oil, crude oil, probably a lot of stuff.
Well, the crude oil is like they have the whole state, like the statewide oil or whatever, where they nationalize their oil.
Yeah. But they have, they tax the shit out of people. But the thing is that their wages, like
the services are good.
Yeah, the services are good. Their wages are incredible.
Yeah.
But again, it works because the whole system works like that. It's like, if we wanted to do that tomorrow morning, it would be impossible because the whole system is kind of, it's not rigged that way. And that's the problem. What we have is we'd have to overhaul the entire ship. What is that?
It sounds like a blender.
That's wild.
Like a mixer. That sounds like a dough mixer to me.
That is wild. Okay.
That's why we work in coffee.
Thank you.
So I don't.
Wow.
Was it the frequency there?
Piercing.
Yeah.
It was like an ice pick. It's
I'm
like
missing
it's
that
like
frequency.
the guitarist that's like puts the treble way too high on the amp, and you're just like, hey, it's ice picks in my fucking ears, buddy. It's like.
So I'm taking you were not a guitarist.
This is not a Burzum album.
Whoa there, steady there.
Yeah. No. I actually am a humongous Burzum fan, but it's
You love Varg?
I don't love Varg. I think Varg it's funny because Varg was taken off YouTube and taken off all this stuff. Like, obviously,
right?
For it's funny. Okay, in hindsight, it's kind of hilarious because what he was taken off YouTube for, when you look at the things that have been done and said today, what he said on his like YouTube channel or whatever is like nothing compared to what some people are getting away with today.
Yeah.
And these people are like, quote unquote, like either, accepted or loved or whatever. He's definitely controversial, but I've seen some insane stuff happening all over the internet. The stuff that is allowed to perpetuate on TikTok, on Instagram, on all this stuff, that little kids could be watching. Like the chances of a little kid or like very, very young person tuning into, let's say, Varg's, what was it called? Thulian, whatever perspective thing, there's probably no young person or very few young people are tuning into that. But the shit that you see people tuning into, like these influencers, like these young influencers that are peddling like, OF accounts and all this stuff, like there's some insane shit. And then, I feel like if we're going to cancel people or deplatform people, we should be deplatforming people for a lot of different reasons, not just that one reason. But I'm not going to sit here and say I don't like Burzum because the person is controversial and maybe I don't agree with most of the crap that this person says.
Most, like all of it almost, yeah.
Most of it. Yeah, most of it. But I grew up in that era. I grew up in the era where, it was like Mayhem, Old Funeral, Burzum, etc., Dark Throne, all that stuff. Throne. And Dark Throne is still one of the bands that I probably, if I get into my car and I turn my car on, the CarPlay automatically suggests like a random Dark Throne album. It's there. But there's a lot of stuff. Like I started, fun fact, first metal album I ever bought, I was like 7 or something. It's weird, okay? Yeah. But I my parents were not there in my life, so I was like kind of weird. But I went to the mall and I went to this music store called Polisson in Rosemere on the outskirts of Montreal. And I bought purely based on cover art, okay? I only bought this album on cover art. I had never heard the band before. It was Megadeth, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? And I lucked out, right? Because for a first album on cassette, I couldn't have picked, like the opening track was Peace Sells. The bass line, like, it's incredible.
It's very Quebec pick though.
Yeah,
Quebec loves Megadeth, man. Like think about like the what's the Trooper beer that they make.
True.
Unibrew makes.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Very Quebec.
Yes.
Very Montreal of you.
Yeah. Without knowing it, I mean, how could I have known?
I feel like Montreal's favorite metal person is Mustaine.
Yeah.
So,
the first CD I owned was a metal CD, and I got it for my birthday. It was Slayer, Hell Awaits.
Fuck yeah. Fucking Slayer.
Yeah. So it wasn't like the classic, like, what is it, Seasons in the Abyss and all that stuff. Like I whatever, it's after that.
Yeah.
But
how old were you though? That's like
very young. It was when CD started.
Yeah.
Right. When
that would have been out like before you were probably born.
Yeah. So we that was kind of like my intro to it, and then it got weird. I got into like what people now refer to as like Halloween music. Like I had a Cradle of Filth phase. I had this phase where it was like, okay,
Typo.
I'm doing this. Yeah. But that was before. So I got the Megadeth album, but then simultaneously I bought Dude Ranch from Blink-182. I bought
classic,
like Kerplunk and Dookie from Green Day,
yeah.
And then in the same whiff, I had bought Incesticide. These are all cassettes, right? Incesticide from Nirvana, Typo Negative, the first album.
Not,
but because it was like $7 or something like that, or $6.
Yeah.
But I had a bunch. That was like the grunge thing, and then I got a bunch of like mixtapes from my friend's older brother. And on those mixtapes, I discovered Nine Inch Nails, Pantera, etc. Not like, some of the stuff wasn't like metal, but anyway, at the time, it was like harder.
Pantera's
music,
like OG hardcore.
Yeah. Love Pantera. Again, another guy, Phil Anselmo. I don't agree with everything that he fucking said. Yeah. But one of the best voices in metal.
Riffs.
Yeah.
Dime
of course.
Dime. Arguably worse opinions.
Yeah.
Dime is not a good dude. Was not a good dude.
Yeah.
But riffs.
Yeah. But that's it. And again, it's like that's I guess that's the thing. That's what I'm saying about. That's why the real thing is that when you look at all of this stuff, right? All of this music that was going against the grain, right? It was about anarchy. It was about chaos. It was about, like let's say Dark Throne or like Gaul from oh my God, Gaul. The huge band name. No?
I can't remember. No.
Oh my God. Come on. You're killing me here.
Here, we'll do it.
I always think of Behemoth, but that came way later. I'm talking about because they had an album that reminded me of.
I don't think I'm looking at the
Behemoth
right one.
album.
Is it GALL?
Yeah. No. GHAAL.
AAL.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Gauls WYRD. I don't think this is it. Maybe it is actually.
What?
Oh, yes. Sorry, it's the same guy. It's Norway.
Yeah. But
the singer.
Gorgoroth. That's what it is. Oh, see, it's because it ends with oth. So behemoth. Anyway, who says that? Who would say behemoth? Anyway, that's just me being dumb. But
that's like what was it? Marduk or whatever that played at the.
Yeah,
was that big controversy.
Yes. See, Marduk. I really like Marduk's music. But
bad opinions.
But again, bad opinions. But again, what I was getting at was that all this music, even like stuff that was like tame, like Nine Inch Nails and stuff like that, it was about having opinions that were very unpopular. Okay, very unpopular, somewhat controversial. Mm-hmm. Some would say like. Some of those people that were dealing with, let's say not Dark Throne. I don't think Dark Throne were ever like full-blown Satanists or anything. I think it was just they loved this type of music. Boom, they played this music. Okay, yeah. But some people were like full-blown. I believe in Satan. Blah blah blah. All this stuff. And if censorship was as heavy as it is now, we would have never got any of that music.
It's true.
Ever. So it's like
Marilyn Manson.
That's okay. So
never would have had Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. That actually, that was one of the few times I had a parent with me at a record shop. Was when Antichrist Superstar came out, and I went to buy it, and I didn't have money, so I had to. So I asked my dad to buy it for me. One of the few times that my dad was in my life. He goes, "What the fuck is this?" And then I said, "Well, buy it, and we're gonna put it on in the car." And needless to say, didn't like it.
He didn't like it. No.
But again, Marilyn Manson, terrible fucking guy. Obviously, years later, we realized like the psychological and probably physical abuse that he did. Again, that's not just somebody saying something and having an opinion that you go, that's disgusting behavior. He literally abused people mentally and physically, like the women that were in his life and everything, and probably bandmates, and probably like John 5. He's had physical confrontations with him on stage. It's like the Brian Jonestown massacre almost. It's like so. Anyway, all to say is that if we remove all anarchy and all of like
controversy,
then everything's vanilla, and we don't get anything that's like charged. And you know what? I will argue that people actually want that, because the most people engage online is with all the shit that they hate.
Yeah,
it's
true.
not with stuff that they like. So we're pain whores. At the end of the day, there's a lot of people. Yeah, we're like, give it to me. I want to be enraged, you know? So it's wild. You know?
So tell me about making controversial coffee memes.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You got you in rabbit hole. Y'all are just going after them, eh?
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, we have something coming out. It's funny because the last thing that we did that really upset people, that is still upsetting people, is the Pepe bag.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the point. The point was like, I was there when 4chan came to be, right? I'm that old, whatever. And Pepe was this thing that was like tossed around to make people laugh.
It wasn't right-wing at all.
No, at all. It was super funny. And yes, there are some people, because it's anonymous on there, that made little Pepes there was a KKK Pepe, there was a Hitler Pepe, there was all this stuff. Do I endorse that or condone that? No, I think it's fucking dumb. But there are always going to be morons anywhere you turn. There's people that don't use signaling when they drive and then they hit a kid and kill them. There's that too. That's also fucking dumb, but people don't get outraged as much over that. But anyway, I digress. Pepe it became something because a group of people used it as something. My opinion is you don't get to change what this thing means because you decide to use it.
Right.
I think it's giving these bad people way too much power. So I disagree, and I think they shouldn't have this power, and they don't have the power over how I perceive him, which is still this ultra chill dude that sometimes smokes, sometimes drinks coffee, sometimes wears sunglasses, sometimes is sad, sad boy.
Boy.
Yeah, it's totally okay, kind of emo. And that's it. So that one really pissed people off. But we have a bag that's going to come out this year that, if the right were paying attention, which I guarantee you they are not paying attention to the Pepe bag, I guarantee you, okay? But if they were, they were paying attention to us, they're gonna fucking want to incinerate us after this bag because it's gonna piss them off so much. I can't talk about it. It's a top secret mission.
Oh my
God. But
God.
so many people on the so-called right will be upset. And it's going to be super funny. So all I'm getting at is that we don't care about sides. We just do things that we think are funny and other people will think are funny.
Yeah, you're an equal opportunity offender.
Yeah. I think we need to find the humor out there because there is so much hate and anguish and honestly like unrest between just people that we're getting further and further divided instead of coming together and having conversations like these.
Well, if you're gonna let coffee, like a coffee bag, trigger you, it's coffee.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
It's crazy.
From your phone, which, may I add, was probably produced by slave labor and people jumping off of a fucking building, and you're commenting on something like that saying, oh, I poo-poo your little bag thing. I think it's wrong, Cool story, bro.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, we talked about a lot of stuff. We mostly just talked about shitting on people who don't understand coffee. That's fun. I like that.
Well, look, I mean, it could have gone either way, but I think there's so much to talk about.
There really is.
There's so much to talk about, and I can gab away for
you came from music,
ever.
which we barely talked about.
I know, and I'm kind of bummed because I wanted to riff on music with you about some random shit, and How you're trying to have a proper practice, and there's always that one person that's like constantly noodling when you're trying to. Oh, it's you, eh?
It's only when we write. When we write, I play guitar, but it's like the only time I play guitar. That's neither here nor there. Listen,
or guitarists that always turn their amps up way too loud, and then go, "Hey, I'm ready," and you're like, "No, you're not, bro. I can't hear anything." And the bass is like, "Oh, I'm at 2. I'm fine. I'm at 2."
Well, then it's like the guitarist turns up too loud, and they're like, "Oh, I can't hear the bass." I'm like, "Turn it down." The drums can only get so loud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can only yell so loud.
Unless you're like Steve Gadd and your drummer's just like smashing the shit out of them.
I mean, even that still.
Yeah.
Sometimes
can only get so loud.
You're running 250 150s. I can't hear shit.
Yeah. Talking about Burzum, that was the classic Burzum. Also Van Halen. Van Halen notoriously had a 5150.
That's his amp.
Yeah, very good.
It's the best amp.
Yeah, I still have my first guitar that I bought with my own money. It's a Kramer American, but mahogany body.
Ooh,
so it
heavy.
weighs a lot. But yeah, first guitar I bought with my own money. It was a great purchase.
What was the band that you were in before?
We had like a few different projects, again, like Robot Paranoia was that, and then we had this thing that we called Mafia.
That's cool.
And it was a childhood friend who had picked up music later in life, but ended up being a really great guitarist. This guy Gabby, like the only Jehovah's Witness guy in Rosemere.
You knew a Jehovah's Witness?
Well, yeah, and I played music with him, and his parents at the time gave him an ultimatum, right? They were like, music or get out of our house, right? And Gabby was like, well, fuck you, I'm leaving. So he got out of the house, and I'm glad that he did, because he's a great guitarist. He, in very little time, I've been playing since I was pretty young, and Gabby eclipsed me so quick. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, it doesn't hurt that he's like 6'5" and has like hands that are just enormous. Really amazing dexterity, you know. Yeah, just really good. Anyway, he would play bass actually in that group. And every once in a while, like, throw in like some ideas on guitar and throw ideas in on keys. We had like a Juno, and we had like a few other things. And then Wally played drums, and my best friend, we grew up, he was the drummer and I was playing guitar, and then we sort of taught each other each other's instruments. He played guitar next to me. So it was so crazy growing up with him through our formative years, if you will. I was standing up, playing guitar, singing, all this stuff, and he was behind the kit. And then we started playing these shows in this bigger band, in this like 5-6 piece band. But I would look up from my guitar, and Nick's next to me playing guitar. It was so crazy. And the energy was insane, because to this day, the only person that I played music with that we don't need to communicate. Mm-hmm. We could be doing total improv. We have done it so many times, so many years, so many times, that we don't need to communicate. It's like some kind of cosmic connection, and I know where he's going and he knows where I'm going.
Right.
It's wild.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah. It was amazing. We played a lot of stuff, kind of like indie. That group was kind of like indie rock, but with a lot of like, I'd say, like, it's so weird because it's like there was Bowie, kind of weird Bowie references in there, but there was also like, have you ever listened to the album Asia from Steely Dan?
Yes.
Like Steely Dan and like fucking then. Yeah, so there was a lot of like ideas from math rock. I wouldn't say that there was like weird time sigs and stuff like that. We did have some ideas like that, but a lot of it was just, we'll say, pop indie rock that was tinged with all of this different shit. Cool. you know? Yeah.
Well, we should
Yeah.
start wrapping up, I think.
Yeah.
Before we go, what's the best... I got 2 questions. This is just a short one. The best Montreal band, in your opinion, that's ever existed. Blue Rodeo is mine.
The best Montreal band that has ever existed.
It can be heavy or it can be more on the indie side if you want. Don't say Arcade Fire.
Man, that's honestly so hard. It's
Blue Rodeo.
It's so hard. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. Blue Rodeo is fucking sick.
It's either Blue Rodeo or Crib Tops. There's no in between.
Yeah, there's no in between. Dude, I don't know. Okay, look.
What
Okay,
about
wait.
underrated one?
Okay, wait. Okay, I'll. I know people are gonna be, anyway, I feel like if I mention stuff, it's gonna be like, why didn't you say this? But okay, a band that doesn't exist anymore, but that I really, really liked, that was from here, was Chevalier Avant-Garde, which became Postcards after.
Okay.
Actually, a band that was made by a college English teacher of mine. We met. I was going to college, and he was like, "Oh, I have this band." Blah. And Nick, that played in the other band, actually played drums for some shows of this guy. Anyway, so Postcards, Chevalier Avant-Garde. They still have like records that you can buy, like 7 inches and stuff like that. Cool. And then it's tough because I want to associate the band that did the album Dragon Slayer. Oh my God. The guy went to school here at Concordia. I don't think everyone is from Montreal, but oh my God, I'm such a dummy. Why am I blanking on this? Sunset Rubdown. Yeah. Okay. So that guy went to, I believe he studied at Concordia for a time.
Okay.
I could be mixing it up with the guy that did the album Mango, this jazz album, Michael Franks.
Okay.
Oh my God, that too, recorded in Montreal. Anyway, amazing. But currently, the best band that I think is maybe not getting enough love is Druidus.
Really?
Yeah.
They're like huge on TikTok.
They need more. I think that they're very young, but they're doing a lot of the things the right way. The drummer is something else. When you watch a show and you see all the other acts go up, and then you hear him get on the kit, the level of playing difference between everyone else and that guy, crazy. Like, I mean, it's unreal. But I just think they have all the right influences, and they're playing the hits. You know what I mean? Like, their influences are really there. They're tangible, but they have a shot. I believe they have a shot, you know?
Well, y'all heard it. I'm familiar with Druidus. I've just never seen them live. But I've seen their TikToks.
Trackside was wild. Was fucking wild.
They reopened it.
Wild. Oh, yeah?
It's called Le Beau.
It's called the what?
Le Beau.
Le Beau.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't fucking know. I don't speak French.
The Beau.
Le B-I-O. B-I-U. Beau.
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 Wow.
I don't know how to speak French.
I don't know what that is. I don't even know what that is.
Y'all spoke French in Rosemere.
Yeah, but BU is fucking, I have no, the Bureau of Internal Underground,
I don't know.
Things. Yeah.
Well, Jesse.
Been a pleasure.
I appreciate you.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been so great.
Let's do it again.
What's your favorite city for beans and breakdowns?
Favorite city?
Yeah.
Favorite city? Reykjavik.
I need to go. I gotta go. I gotta get out there.
Yeah. Reykjavik.
Beautiful.
Insane city.
Volcanoes.
Amazing food. Amazing, really solid coffee.
I would expect nothing less.
People, amazing. Like just the amazing people. I went there for Iceland Airwaves. I implore people, if you can afford I know now it's way more expensive, but if you can afford to go out there during summer solstice or for airwaves, like later in the year, it's usually around end of October, November, something like that. Get out there. It's insane. The way that they run the festivals, the people that are at the venues, just amazing people. Kex Hostel, oh my God, fucking eat there. It's incredible. It's the best. It's so good.
You gotta watch Eurovision. Have you seen Eurovision? Yeah. You gotta watch Eurovision with Will Ferrell. It's a good movie.
Yes.
It has almost nothing to do with Iceland, except for the fact that they're from Iceland.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like ABBA references.
Yeah. KEXP. I met Lori from KEXP in Iceland at Airwaves. It was fucking crazy. What a legend. She's a legend.
She's the best.
Anyway, yeah, she's a legend. They, at Kex Hostel in Iceland, in Reykjavik, they had a KEXP booth set up for all the shows that were at Kex Hostel. It was fucking crazy.
That's
dude.
sick.
It was an insane era. It was an insane era.
Listen, before Audio Tree, KEXP was king.
No, it was insane. It was insane.
King.
It was insane.
Still is.
And they have no McDonald's there.
That's great.
At the hostel I was staying at, weird story. I know we're gonna wrap up, but weird story. At the hostel I was staying at, they had this glass cloche, okay, and in the cloche was a trio from the last McDonald's that was ever in Reykjavik, okay, and it wasn't like it didn't change. It was there since
like 20 years ago.
Yeah. And it hadn't changed. The cheeseburger, the fries, everything. It was like in perfect condition, you know? So instead, across from Kex Hostel, let's say you go to Iceland and you're listening to me and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to go to Iceland. I'm going to stay at Kex Hostel. And you're like, I can't afford to eat at Kex Hostel every night. I have to go somewhere cheaper. Great. Go across the street. There's this place called Aktu Taktu, and Aktu Taktu is like their answer to McDonald's. It's like a fast food joint, but you can get like jalapeno poppers there and shit like that.
It's not like Max?
No.
You know Max.
Yeah. No. It's insane.
Okay.
It's honestly insane. And they only have one. There's just like the one
just
out
that
there.
One.
Yeah. But if you're broke, you know, that's where you go.
Okay.
You know, it's
you got it. That's your whole trip just got planned.
Boom.
Buy the tickets.
Yeah.
Jesse, again, thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Love traffic. Love experiencing all of the traffic.
I love beans and breakdowns.
Beautiful.
What's your favorite breakdown?
What's
your favorite breakdown?
Why would you ask me that? I think it's the breakdown in Unanswered by Suicide Silence, just because I have such a history with that song.
That is classic.
It ignited a lot for me.
Yeah, no, that's classic.
Some people are going to think this is fucked up, but I think a second would be the breakdown in Pray for Plagues by Bring Me the Horizon off of Count Your Blessings. Don't at me, because I stand by that. That was deathcore at its finest.
Yeah, no, those are solid.
Yeah,
those are solid.
I still find myself writing based on those breakdowns. So that should say something. That was like 15 years ago.
You know, I got a hot take for a breakdown. I know it's going to be like meh. Holy Wars.
Dude, yes. By
Holy Wars, baby.
Megadeth.
Murder.
Oh, I thought you were talking about by the Irish Murder.
That riff.
Same. Yeah, that's good.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Well, let's wrap. I got to take a break. Okay. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. I want to say a huge thanks to Jesse for hanging out on the podcast. If you have the chance, check out some coffee from Traffic. They make amazing stuff, and they always have branding that is on point. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can find out more information about the podcast by following us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns or on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. Until next week, be sure to stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up.